Nobody could bury the shot.
Tip controlled by the Cyclones. 22-8 on the year, ranked 23rd in the country.
The backcourt from Iowa State has played 80 minutes. They have not been out of a game yet in this tournament. That could play against them today.
That's this man, Willoughby, and Holloway, number 10. They've gone the distance. In and out for Willoughby, but saved by Pratt, and Iowa State will reset.
Cato only played 15 minutes yesterday. Foul trouble all the way. He's got to stay on the floor today. Patient team. And obviously, they want to keep this as a low-scoring ball game.
Nice shot by Cato. Kelvin Cato, the junior from Decatur, Georgia. Playing only his second year of organized ball.
He's held to 4 points in the last game against Kansas. Had 12 in the other one. Kansas won both times this year when these two teams played.
Pierce, who has been in a shooting slump, off the back of the rim, and Iowa State will have possession. And the Cyclones with a win here by 2 over Nebraska. And then you talk about intensity. How about the battle with Missouri yesterday?
That's an incredible battle. Big plays at the end, particularly Willoughby being such a great scorer. Was fouled on a very controversial play, but it really changed things around.
Kansas clobbered Colorado and got by Kansas State. Here come the Jayhawks, 26-3 on the year. Won the Big 8 regular season by 3 games. LaFrentz, bodies all over him, but still gets the shot away. In and out. Iowa State possibly looking at a 4 seed with a win today. They can do it. And there's a 3 to help their cause by Dedric Willoughby.
Number 2 scorer in the Big 8 this year behind Ryan Miner. And then played at New Orleans as a freshman. Transferred up here and is a terrific outside shooter.
That was just a 2, Billy. Here's Haase, though, with a 3. And Kansas has misfired on its first 3 attempts. So 4-0 Iowa State. Willoughby's jumper only a 2.
Jim, Kansas has to get points in this ball game early in 2 ways. One, pushing the ball up the floor and getting some breaks with Vaughn. And the other, go down inside of LaFrentz. He's had a very good tournament so far. They got to get Cato in foul trouble.
There's Cato, and that was last touch by the center. And they bring in a sub. Klay Edwards will come in for Iowa State for Cato. Regular season standings, I mentioned 3-game edge for Kansas. Iowa State, the 2 seed. And that was overall, the overall records were through the regular season.
Check the defense out now. They may be going boxing 1 early on Vaughn. Yeah, they are. Holloway on Vaughn, boxing 1. This is something that Iowa State has used a lot. Keeps the ball out of Jacque Vaughn's hands.
Saw those Big 8 standings. Probably 4 teams from the conference will make the field, to be announced later today. Haase, well, they had only 3 on the shot clock, so they launched it.
And a secondary thought on Haase's part.
Pratt will take you inside and draw a lot of fouls, but that time he decided not to challenge the Jayhawk defender.
Jim, at 6'4", Pratt's only going to play about 8 feet from the basket offensively, and there he is. He loves it down in there.
Adrian Dantley type player inside. Knows how to work his body and get a lot of players to commit, put them on the line. Here's second 3 of the game. This one goes, and Kansas has his first points of the day.
That's Kansas's game. Vaughn pushed the ball up the floor, penetrate, and then kick out. But again, you've got to hit some jump shots.
Well, Billy, I hate to keep jogging back and forth, but they have corrected the score now on the Willoughby jumper earlier, and it was, in fact, the 3 as originally called.
Good screen by Holloway. There's Willoughby again.
Not this time, but saved by Edwards. The freshman tipped it out, and Iowa State will get another chance in this possession.
Edwards, a redshirt freshman from last year, really had a great game yesterday. 6 rebounds.
Traveling. So we go to the first timeout of the game with Iowa State 5-3.
At Citgo, our super premium gasoline will give you the high performance you demand. So prepare yourself to be totally blown away. Super premium performance. Citgo says go.
The Pontiac Firebird waits. 305 horsepower comes to life. Ram air induction turns air into fuel in a rush. Firebird, you're ready to fly.
In Prague, you can trade them for a car.
An extra layer of cheese hidden between 2 layers of crust. The new triple-decker pizza from Pizza Hut, only $9.99. You'll love the stuff we're made of.
Enterprise? Hi, I'm at the repair shop. I need to rent a car.
Enterprise will arrange to pick you up,
This is great.
drive you to our place, and get you on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
CBS Sports breaks the news. Who's in, who's out? What's the madness all about? Be the first to know. The NCAA Basketball Championship Selection Show tonight on CBS.
26 schools have won automatic bids for to be decided today here at the Big 8, the ACC, the SEC, which we'll have here on CBS, and the Big West as we count down to the selection show. How many do you feel coming out of the Big 8? They're hoping for 4.
I think they've got 4, Jim.
Yeah, you know, actually, what about maybe even a 5th?
That's the thing. You talk about the second best record, non-conference record of any conference in the United States. RPI has them ranked second strongest conference. Pretty hard to say, well, then they aren't going to go very deep.
Kansas and Iowa State, of course, locks to get in, but on the fence, Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. And it could be 3 for 2 out of that bunch. Oklahoma, K-State, Oak State.
Back to man-to-man straight. A nice lob pass by Vaughn. Back screen. Cato got lost. Does anybody sit down on the floor defensively better than Jacque Vaughn and move his feet instead of reaching out with his hands? I mean, he has perfect technique defensively.
He is really down in a low position.
Incredibly conditioned athlete.
Pratt working the blocks.
Good help. Doubled down by Pierce.
Fortunate to get it back. Cato on the line. Kansas ball with the game tied at 5.
Now, one of the things that I'm surprised a lot of people don't do against Iowa State, and that is to double down. We'll see this lob pass. There's this back screen. A terrific job by LaFrentz. But when you play against Pratt, anytime he touches the ball down low, people should be running to him from all kinds of angles because they don't have the guys that want to take the jump shot if he kicks it out, other than Willoughby. Bad pass.
Tough pass. Cato came around to deny.
Ball was on top. I mean, hand was on top of the ball.
Look at that. Willoughby to the line for 2. That was the first foul called in the game. Over 5 minutes of action. And the foul was called against Pierce. Big 8 tournament title since 1977. Look at this. Missouri with 6. Colorado and Iowa State without a title. This thing again, the last year of the Big 8. They never got a slice of it to this point.
Norm Stewart with all 6 of those championships. And yesterday, his comment after the ball game in terms of foul shooting. His team yesterday was 6 from 13 for the line. Iowa State was 24 of 38. This Iowa State has an incredible statistic in terms of making more than other teams shoot throughout the course of this year. And when you take into consideration, this is not a team that has great talent. That's terrific teaching.
And Willoughby, who just made 1 of 2, is one of the reasons. And one of the players who will make more free throws than other teams attempt.
Nice hustle.
Great hustle, but the ball tipped away. Holloway made a nice play for Iowa State, too.
Well, sometimes you can overpass, and that's what happened to Pollard. He should have taken that right to the basket. Holloway, 2.5 to 1 turnover assist ratio. Sets a lot of screens for a guy that can't weigh 150 pounds.
LaFrentz got it out in the open. Pearson on the floor. He's going to be called for traveling. Yep. Well, the East first and second round sites are Providence and Richmond, with the regional being in Atlanta. And you've got to think it's going to be UMass up in Providence, and then Richmond. A little debate there. Some like Georgetown, others think it could be Georgia Tech.
Talking about Georgetown, was that a great game last night, Connecticut and Georgetown? Ray Allen's shot at the end, after what the Georgetown defense had done to him, was incredible that that went in. And then Allen Iverson with a chance to win. Those are 2 teams, Jim, that both of us think could be in the Final Four.
I think Georgetown, there's Willoughby. Wow, what a shot, a 3. Georgetown, even with the loss, playing like one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country right now. And away from the ball, push-off called on Pratt. A little more thought on that East bracket. You know, again, Providence being a site. You think there's any formula at all they would put UConn in the East and move out UMass this year, since UConn traveled last year?
I don't know. I think based on what UMass has done all year long, they deserve to be as close to home as possible. I mean, they've been #1 the entire year, with the exception of this run by Kentucky. They've taken on all comers. And I'll tell you another thing, their win yesterday against Temple. John Chaney do it every year, get a team ready with a tough schedule to be a real tough out in the NCAA tournament.
Well, they handed Kansas its first loss of the season when Kansas, in fact, was ranked #1. Vaughn travel. Kind of slipped, but it'll cost them a turnover. The other site down there in the East, in Richmond, it could be like a 2.
I see a Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, or somebody like that in there.
Yeah, or a 2 Georgetown, 3 Wake, something like that. 9-5 Iowa State. 3 times before today to the Big 8 final without ever winning the championship,
including last year where they went up against Big Country.
Pierce, Pollard, and Cato will pick up a foul.
That's what Pollard has got to do. They have got to force Cato to try to occupy 2 men on the inside. He's the only man of size in that front line from Iowa State. And with LaFrentz and Pollard, they should attack that glass.
Joe Modderman comes in, junior from Allendale, Michigan, for Bankhead.
By the way, LaFrentz 22-8 in the first game against Colorado, and then followed that up against K-State with 16 and 13 rebounds being his high for the year. He's on target maybe to be the player of the tournament if Kansas were to continue to play well.
LaFrentz will get a breather. B.J. Williams will take his place in the lineup. Kansas beat Iowa State 89-70 in Lawrence and 61-50 in Ames. Pollard hits them both.
And that sets up the full court pressure. Man to man, nobody on Pratt. Will it be a pull up? Tough shot.
And felt a little bit of pressure from behind from Haase.
Sure did.
Chased down the rebound and brings the ball into the front court. Turned over by Pierce.
Jim, Willoughby is kind of an interesting story in the fact that he followed Tim Floyd right up to Iowa State. He said he just had so much respect for him as a coach. At New Orleans, he was primarily a guy that came off the bench and only shot threes. And you can see by the way he goes to the foul line now, he's elevated his game in all areas. Now he's really tough to guard.
Holloway, who seldom shoots, Dishes to Pratt. Good drive, but the play wasn't finished. Knocked out by Kansas.
Excellent help that time by Williams.
Kansas has made only 2 field goals, 2 of 8, turned it over 4 times. Iowa State by 2.
Just make sure you stay in the chariot, Chuck. I guarantee you're going to win the dang race.
That's good. True story. You are so special. That chariot thing you did and the water stuff. I love you, man.
You're not getting my Bud Light. Frankly, son, you frighten me.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
And it's more like, I love you, man. See?
Oh, yeah, I'm a Grand Prix kind of guy.
I just hate it when we have to hurry.
Who's she kidding? She's just itching to fire up our new Grand Prix and book.
When you get big and right up front, you'll really appreciate the dual airbags.
Come on, Mom, this is a Pontiac. I heard her telling Dad how much punch that V6 has. You want to drive?
And since we saved more than $1,000 over the tourists, we started our college nest egg.
Look, freeway, 1 mile.
We'll have to take the freeway after all.
Driving excitement, Pontiac.
Yeah!
They were really growing up fast. Too fast. All Kelly talked about was going to high school, and all I could think about was paying for college. Sure, I played around with a few mutual funds, but I was no expert. So I started talking to someone who could help, a broker at Dean Witter.
We must plan for our clients' future as if it were our own.
Funny, kids think their parents always have the right answers. I'm just making sure I do.
We measure success, one investor at a time.
All across the heartland, in big cities and small towns, and all the miles in between. We're there. In the best of times and the worst of times. A helping hand along your way. A company dedicated to helping you get the most out of your car, as well as your life. For all the miles to come, Phillips 66, the performance company.
This was earlier. Charlie Bowerman from Phillips 66 presenting Big 8 Commissioner Carl James a check for $24,000 for the Big 8 Classroom Champions program. Jim Nantz, Billy Packer, Selection Sunday on CBS with the first announcement of the NCAA pairings.
Like a rocket
5 hours away.
Yeah. Tell you, there are a lot of guys, as tight as college basketball has been this year, there are a lot of guys got to be on the edge today. You talk about bubble teams, it's a long list this year.
We're going to shuttle over to the Hyatt here in Kansas City, where the NCAA selection committee is meeting, have been meeting, in fact, for, what, 3 days. We'll be there for the selection show later this afternoon.
Well, in my memory, the toughest selection we've ever had because of the incredible balance between about 40 or 50 teams.
1 second. They're going to put 1 second back on the shot clock as Modderman had his shot rejected. There's Tim Floyd in his 2nd year at Iowa State. What a really great young coach he is.
We've got time for a tap.
Yep. Not enough. Haase intercepted it ahead to Pierce.
Try to challenge Willoughby and not enough room.
And a tie up. It'll be Kansas ball with the arrow. Billy, the Midwest. The sites are Dallas and Milwaukee, with the regional thing in Minneapolis. Everyone knows Kentucky will be the 1 seed in the Midwest. Anyone else you'd like to drop into that bracket?
Well, I think the Conference USA is going to be well represented there.
I guess you're looking at Cincinnati maybe, huh?
Yep.
Is it 2?
Yep.
Inside stolen. Boy, Pratt, quick hands.
Too much distance between passer and recipient on that play. Not good judgment. Haase can't afford to leave Willoughby. One thing to double team Pratt down low, but not when Willoughby's wide open.
Iowa State has made only 1 of its last 8 field goal attempts.
They've got Vaughn on Pratt inside. See if while they have him isolated, they can get him the ball. Holloway didn't do the right thing there. He allowed the switch to take place.
Got it away in time. Almost went in, too.
That wasn't quite as spectacular as Ray Allen's shot, but kind of like it. Got caught up in the air.
Yes. Yes.
Boy, to the Kansas faithful, would they love to see Jerod get hot.
Yeah, about right now.
Yep.
They need.
He's only shooting 28% on the year from 3. Really has fallen off since last year.
Kansas with its first lead. Pratt waited. That's just classic Pratt right there.
He only scores from about 6 feet from the hoop.
They need about 6 hot games from Haase after today. Williams, second chance, stripped away. Cato, no call.
Cato started off this tournament with 5 big blocks against Nebraska. He is now the season leader of all time, beating Victor Alexander for Iowa State in shot blocking.
Big changes here in the Kansas lineup. They bring in Robertson, freshman. He's a good sharpshooter. And also Shawn Pearson, who's been a 6th man for most. Well, he did start his sophomore year, part of his junior year, but now playing a secondary role.
Both played well yesterday. Robertson had the big game, 5 for 6, 13 points in just 15 minutes. A tremendous lift off the bench against Kansas State that just would not fold in yesterday.
11-11, 10 minutes to go first half. Williams got them both, and they set up the press.
Williams having a good tournament. He had 10 points in the first game against Colorado. This is a deep Kansas team, Jim. We've said that since we had them early in the year against UCLA. Very young team, but good depth.
They really go with 11 players. Just about every game you can bank that 11 guys are going to see action. There's one other school that comes to mind that plays that way, and that's Kentucky.
Kind of a parallel this year. Won't say that Kansas has been as dominated as Kentucky, but those 2 leagues, the SEC and the Big 8, Kentucky and Kansas dominating their leagues.
Williams, jumper. LaFrentz on a near tip in.
A hike to Willoughby.
Tried to sweep. Student body left, but got shut down on a wing, so Iowa State down by a point.
Holloway, oh, good backdoor cut. Nice idea. Pearson might have had a hold of Pratt a little bit there.
Yeah, that's what Holloway's trying to explain to one of the officials.
He didn't really have a good angle on that. You'd like a 45-degree angle to make that play, but I think Pratt was held a little bit.
Jacque Vaughn, the Big 8 Player of the Year, setting up this Kansas offense.
Well, we've really got 3 Big 8 all-conference players out there. Willoughby, Vaughn, and LaFrentz. First teamers.
Robertson blocked by Edwards.
Willoughby's open. Takes too long to get him the ball on the reversal. Well, they really count on Holloway to have that ball in his hands a lot. For a guy that doesn't have great offensive production, he just kind of like reads all the defense. Part of 4 straight Kansas high school championships.
The only player in Kansas history, in state history.
And then what we hear is his sister was on a state championship team.
Runs in the family.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Pearson called on the foul. Big 8 representation since 1990 in the tournament. They had 2 in both 90 and 91, and 4 teams got in 92. How about 93? Kansas, and in 3 of the last 2 years. And again, we figure 4. Do you like the chances of taking all of them? Oklahoma, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, or just 2 to 3?
I know, Jim. I think that they're going to get 5 teams. I really do. Beauty.
Pratt off the back of the rim, though. Made a nice spin move.
Frentz got hit in the eye.
Pearson hit one yesterday and today.
Hey, Jim, I got the feeling yesterday that Pearson is starting to play with a lot of confidence, knowing it's going down the wire. You see seniors do 1 of 2 things in the NCAA tournament. They panic, or for some reason they realize it's my last go round and they really lock in. He looks like one that's going to lock in.
Look at that bank shot. Kenny Pratt Well, that would be some lift for Kansas.
Oh, tremendous.
Pearson could do that. LaFrentz and one.
That's the answer. The high-low. Iowa State has no handle for that. Particularly with Cato out of the ball game. They're just too small to handle that high-low.
The entry pass was deflected to him. Went off the hands of Modderman, and Edwards called for the hack.
Jim Edwards at 6'6". Really no match for LaFrentz at 6'10". Of course, Cato coming back in. Roy Williams shuttling a lot of players here. And remember, as I said before, Willoughby and Holloway have played all 80 minutes, and tough minutes so far in this tournament.
I'll give you one here that's an anomaly. As LaFrentz will shoot one. This man holds the single-season block shot record at 2 Division I-A programs.
Yep, South Alabama, where he played for Raniero, and here at Iowa State.
That's Kelvin Cato. Already has a block today. Broke Victor Alexander's single-season block shot record here for the Cyclones this year. Oh, almost dropped.
Now you can see what Pratt senses. I mean, he goes right for the kill. Robertson has him by about an inch, but doesn't have the strength to stay with him.
Well, there's Cato, who we just spoke of, with the single-season block shot mark at both South Alabama and at Iowa State. He never played high school ball. Billy, his family was transferred around the country.
Played AAU basketball.
Played 1 year at South Alabama.
Had to get 18 hours of credits in the first semester at Iowa State to be eligible this year, so didn't join the team until they had already started the season in December.
Oh, wow. That banked off the very top of the backboard.
Well, the strategy yesterday for Missouri was to put this young man on the line, but he came through with 2 huge free throws down the wire.
Out of Chicago, he hits them both. Pratt with 6 points, 4 rebounds, but Kansas has the 2-point lead.
When I took the high endurance challenge from Old Spice, I really thought it was going to be a challenge. I mean, this is a challenge. This is a sure thing. It evaporates less quickly. It also lasts longer, protects better. Old Spice guarantees it. If you don't think it's the best, you call 1-800-PROVE-IT and they'll buy you a stick of your old deodorant. So if you're looking for a real challenge, go climb a mountain. If you're looking for the best deodorant, try high endurance from Old Spice. Because now you got proof. Guaranteed.
The wind howls because it knows it has to race me.
Did you reserve the car with Hertz?
Not exactly, but it's a good deal.
Are they as fast as Hertz?
Not exactly, but what's the rush? We're on vacation!
Dad, are we lost? Hertz gives you computerized directions.
Honey, this is not exactly Hertz, okay?
I hope they have the same emergency road service as Hertz.
Not exactly.
In Rent-A-Car, there's Hertz, and there's not exactly. Make sure you choose the right one.
Are you sure this is the way to the hotel?
Not exactly.
Did you hear that?
You see Iowa State's field goal percentage, 31%. That is precisely what Kansas has held its 2 opponents in the Big 8 tournament to.
Yep, 29 Colorado and 31 Kansas State. You know, another thing that's awful close there, but Iowa State this year is 19-0 when they shoot better than their opponent. Right now, they're 0.2% behind Kansas.
Set it up over to LaFrentz. Triple teamed. And they say someone got a piece of the arm.
Jim, very subtle defensive maneuver, but Tim Floyd probably took a page out of Indiana's book. Remember last year when Kansas went up against Indiana up in Bloomington, and Bob Knight's team never guarded that post man out high and clogged everything back in where Ostertag couldn't do much. That's just exactly what Iowa State's doing. So you see Pollard wide open at the top of the key. He's got to take up some slack there. It's an Iowa boy playing against people from his home state. There was quite an outcry when he decided to leave the state where he was a legendary high school player to come down and play at Kansas.
And when they play at Iowa State, he hears it right.
I guarantee you. Full court pressure. Bankhead no place to go with it.
Had to call the timeout. They'll make it a 20.
You know, you see Tim Floyd there, of course, had his start in college basketball with the great Don Haskins, where he was an assistant for 8 years. You take a look at these two guys who are now great head coaches. It's not by accident. He tutored under Don Haskins, and of course Roy Williams, as everybody knows, was for 10 years under the great Dean Smith. So two of the most brilliant coaches in college basketball got these guys off to a terrific start, and now they are among the very best coaches in the country.
Mississippi State and Kentucky coming up next on CBS, the SEC championship game. And how about Kentucky going for another SEC title?
Could that be 5 in a row for Rick Pitino?
Some run.
You know, you start talking about Calipari 5 in a row in the Atlantic 10. You've got Bobby Huggins, and I realize it's a different conference by name, but Bobby Huggins now 5 in a row for Cincinnati. That's just unbelievable. And of course, the way Kentucky's doing it is just unheard of in terms of just destroying their opponents.
On the blocks, double team, little hook shot. Cato got it.
Second one today.
I think the placement of Cincinnati for the NCAA committee is one of the real troublesome spots for them to try to iron out this weekend.
How about the way Marquette has moved up here in the last couple of weeks?
Could maybe move up to a 4, you know, in that 4-5 range. But Cincinnati would love to stay in its natural region and go to Indianapolis, and then the regional being in Lexington, which is only 65, 70 miles away. But it's a little congested there. Vaughn shoots the 3, too strong. Holloway retrieves.
You don't think we'll see Purdue anyplace other than Indianapolis, do you, Jim?
Well, I mean, it's almost like a foregone conclusion that Purdue now would be like the 2 seed in the Southeast. But you know, Cincinnati had to move west last year. You would think that, you know, what do we have to do here? Why don't we deserve to be able to play in Indianapolis, 110 miles away, and then at the regional in Lexington? I mean, we won our conference. They have a pretty good case too. But I have a feeling they will be moved out.
Kansas goes 1-3-1 zone. Iowa State says no, we'll try to go 4 quarters, pull you out. Kansas doesn't fall for it, so they have to go against the zone.
Pierce saw it coming. Ahead to Vaughn. Lost control of it on the way up, but they call Bankhead on the foul.
Good hustle by Bankhead. He really saved an easy 2.
The Southeast sites the first 2 rounds, Indianapolis and Orlando, and the thinking, the prevailing feeling is that Orlando will see the 1 seed UConn perhaps, and that Indianapolis would have Purdue in place there as the 2. With the regional being at Rupp Arena, and the rules state that you're not allowed to play on your home floor any longer, so that keeps Kentucky out of the mix for the Southeast, and that's why Kentucky will travel.
Well, how about New Mexico? Talking about on your home floor, Albuquerque, the site of the great Derek Wittenberg miss, and knocked off your faithful Houston team. But
thank you.
Playing at home for your conference championship. You know, they beat Utah last night, knocked off Fresno State in 3 overtimes. That home court advantage had to mean a lot for Dave Bliss's club.
No question. Holloway. Look at this. Out to Cato.
Only thing he could do. Kansas staying in the zone.
Let's see if it amounts to.
No, they backed out. Now they're back in a man-to-man. Pollard down in the hole.
If they get anything off this trip after that great save. Bankhead. Cato down with it, and a foul called on Haase.
Boy, a great job by Cato there to use his feet instead of reaching out. He just got up underneath the basketball. A great sign for an offensive rebounder.
Well, next year this becomes the Big 12. The 8 teams from this conference and 4 from the Southwest Conference, and they'll split it into 2 divisions. The North with Colorado, Iowa State, Kansas, K-State, Missouri, Nebraska. The South with the 4 Southwest Conference teams plus Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
Unusual shot there for Holloway. Doesn't take many quick ones, and LaFrentz walks it out of bounds. Holloway's high for the year was 11 at Oklahoma. But you're looking at a young man who'll take 2-3 shots a game and try to keep that assist turnover ratio up like the 3-to-1.
Willoughby, even leaner. Back out, Iowa State. Some possession here, and it finally results in an inside bucket.
Good no-look pass by Holloway.
2019 Jayhawks. Vaughn wildly puts it in.
Where did he go? Where did he come from?
Willoughby, he'll take that 3. You bet.
You can count it, can't you?
That right there ties the game at 22. Just like the man's jersey number who made it. Cato pulls down the board. Iowa State looking to regain the lead.
And they'll look for the fast break with Willoughby out in front looking to find a hole for that jump shot.
These Cyclones fans quite boisterous, aren't they? Great dedicated fans. And no call. 10 on the shot clock. Holloway swatted away. Vaughn in the middle. Cyclones back to defend. On the wing though, open. And picked up by Holloway. So Thomas couldn't hit the open 3. And still tied at 22 with 3:25 to go in the half.
Willoughby waits for the little guard to come back down.
Bankhead driving. In and out. And Edwards. Vaughn able to pick off that attempted save and a push called on Holloway.
You know, Holloway, Jim, does not have blazing speed or quickness, but has an ability to stay in front of his man. And that's really saying a lot when you start talking about a Jacque Vaughn. Now, he can't get there on this one. Tries to get the inside arm around, but Jacque Vaughn is very difficult to contain.
That'll put Vaughn at the line. They're in a bonus now, 1-1. That was the 7th team foul on the Cyclones. Big 8 player of the year, as we mentioned, and LaFrentz making the all-conference team. Scott Pollard was 2nd team all-Big 8.
And Pierce was the co-rookie of the year this year in the Big 8. So Kansas well represented, and rightfully so. I mean, the team that was by far and away the best in the conference in the regular season.
So missing the front end, and Iowa State empty a couple of trips with a chance to take the lead. Maybe they'll do it here.
Of course, Willoughby was the newcomer of the year in the Big 8 this year. Beautiful
Spin
reverse.
move. Pratt puts him ahead.
Beautiful reverse. I just think with Pratt, Jim, you should just stay away from him. When he has the ball at 15 feet, don't try to crowd him. He's 6'4", he's powerful, he's got those good footwork, movement, and not worth challenging him.
Robertson gives Kansas the lead by 1. 3-pointer.
Another guy off state championship bloodline teams. Took on Dedric Hood last year. The state crown, young man who played well for Arkansas. There's another example. Why challenge him at 15 feet? Just ignore him. Make him shoot some jump shots.
So we see Shelby Walton enter the game. Holloway, who had played every minute of the Big 8 tournament to now, will finally get a blow. Shelby Walton, 5'11" junior from Newark, New Jersey, will handle the point while Holloway rests.
It's an adventure, isn't it?
Backs it home, 63% on the season.
You remember yesterday when he was supposed to go the line one time and Holloway stepped in for him, created quite a controversy.
Norm Stewart figured that one out,
yes,
though. They made the switch, and Pratt missed them both.
Yep. And today he has had one bank off the board and one bank and then go up at the top of the board and fall back in.
25-25. 2 minutes to go. Robertson driving all the way.
Picking up right where he left off yesterday. 13 points, as I said, in 15 minutes. Look at the double team by Raef.
LaFrentz almost had it. Willoughby, three-pointer.
Well, they're keeping Willoughby off the foul line today, Jim. They're giving him nothing but jump shots.
Robertson wanting to penetrate again. Calvin Raeford seeing some action. He gave him a boost yesterday with 2 assists and a steal. And a reach-in called on Walton.
Raeford did yesterday, didn't he, Jim? Came in. When you look at the stats, there's really not a lot to scream about. But in terms of that lift and the quality minutes that he came in off the bench and played. So he and Pearson, the 2 seniors, really did a good job for their ball club yesterday.
So Holloway in and Raeford to the line.
As Holloway gave his 35 seconds to the bench.
So the 5'7" senior from Milwaukee had that knee injury that kept him out of action for a season. Seems like he's been at Kansas for a while, doesn't it, Billy? He's been at some Final Four action and really can give him a boost.
And he's a nice kid, you know it. A lot of personality. Well, that's the other thing. When you have seniors that have worked their way out of the starting lineup, it really takes some great leadership on their part to help the ball club out.
Calvin almost got a field goal after making 1 of 2 free throws. 1:20 to go in the half.
Holloway has to be careful because Raeford is really down on the ground to go after any ball that's dribbled in front of him.
Modderman back to the rim.
Good block out.
They call it Iowa State ball. Iowa State's Willoughby with 10. Robertson, though, with 5 off the bench here to give Kansas the 28-25 advantage.
In searching for a luxury performance sedan, Michael Young tested the Oldsmobile LSS against 3 of the fastest Japan has to offer: the Infiniti J30, Lexus ES300, and teppanyaki chef Yasu Norimoto. And while his 240 horsepower LSS was no match for Yasu's speed, not only did Mr. Young fare much better against the imports, he had them for lunch. Will the LSS pass your test?
My migraines kept me from my daughter.
The nausea was awful.
The pain was right here.
There's help for migraine. Migraine doesn't have to mean missing out. Research has given doctors new understanding about migraine. They can diagnose it better and provide surprisingly effective treatment programs.
My doctor helped so much.
Call your doctor today or call 1-800-682-6669 for more information about migraine.
I'm on the road 345 days out of the year. And luckily for me, everywhere I go, there's a mailboxes, etc. An office on the road, if you will. I drive a 27-foot-long hot dog on wheels. That's my company car. Mailboxes, etc. is our link to our corporate headquarters. This is the place to get all your mail, do lots of copies, and get all your faxes. And anytime you need to ship or receive something, that's where you go.
Mailboxes, etc. It's not what we do, it's how we do it.
I relish the service I get from MBE. And that's no baloney.
The new Kawasaki Vulcan 1500 Classic. With the biggest V-twin ever to hit the asphalt, you've never felt anything like it.
All right, the madness will officially be launched in a little more than 4.5 hours. Kansas leading here 28-25. Jim Nantz and Billy Packer. Selection Sunday on CBS. Kansas City is the place to be today, huh?
It certainly is. You get it right from the source. this afternoon. Cato, the outlet man, not ready to initiate any offense from out there.
Kansas has seen some production from its bench here. 11 points off the Jayhawk bench. Iowa State's bench has not scored. Bankhead dribbled it out of bounds. Pennzoil at the half with Pat O'Brien, Quinn Buckner, George Raveling coming up. All the tournament news, plus a live interview with Bob Fredericks, the chair of the men's basketball committee.
About 11-second differential here, so Kansas does have to give it up. See if they go down inside.
Cato denying again. That's twice he's done that. Willoughby dunked it.
You're exactly right, Jim. Not a good pass at all. Too much distance between the man trying to make the pass and the man trying to catch it.
And a man who will operate the closing seconds, none other than Jacque Vaughn. He's pretty good at this.
Yes, he is. A 1-4. He and Allen Iverson, two of the best in the country at this maneuver.
Challenging Holloway. Not this time. Cato says only mine. No one else can touch it. Cato giving some good minutes inside. Good first half of action, Billy.
Well, Jim, the last time these guys played, the score at halftime was 28 all. Not much difference.
How about that? That's the end of the first half. The score, Kansas 28, Iowa State 27. Pat O'Brien will be along with Pennzoil at the half after this message and a word from your local station.
Before we tell you anything else about this car, we want you to know that it costs $35 grand, which we at Oldsmobile think is a darn good price for a D8 luxury performance sedan like the Aurora. Naturally, the people in finance wanted to ask $50, but we talked them out of it. It's your money.
This week on Dave, Sandra Bullock, Bruce Willis, Helen Hunt, Sybil Shepherd, Wynton Marsalis, Friends Lisa Kudrow, and Oscar nominee Nicolas Cage. This week.
You're on CBS.
News Channel 8 is the leader in live news from around Iowa. With News Star 8, Central Iowa's first and best live satellite truck, our mobile newsroom takes you live to the scene of breaking news anytime, anywhere. We're there, so you're there. You told us you wanted more live news from around Iowa, and Iowa's news leader delivers again. News Star 8, the first and still the best, only on News Channel 8.
Want to hear what's in your favorite frosted cereal?
I'm all ears.
Yeah, we're all ears.
All ears.
Those frosted flakes have added salt.
Salt and frosting? Weird.
Those are sweetened with corn syrup.
Syrup's for pancakes.
Those aren't made with the original shredded wheat.
Well, what are they made with then?
Good question. Only Nabisco Frosted Wheat Bites has the crunchy goodness of the original shredded wheat.
Now you're talking.
Excellent.
And are lightly frosted outside with brown sugar inside. Heard enough?
All gone.
Nabisco Frosted Wheat Bites. It's just naturally good.
Done.
The professionals at Wiley's know fashion.
Your eyewear must complement your hair, your makeup, and your jewelry. That's why Pam's eyes are styled at Wiley's.
Wiley's knows families.
Families know good quality eyewear and eye care.
I love my Wiley's glasses.
The professionals at Wiley's even know that Larry wears glasses.
Your Wiley glasses sure help you see the game and read those scores, Lair.
They sure do, Lois.
Wiley's continues to grow because we've proven we're the best. Now 10 locations to serve you. Welcome, Carolyn Manning.
Improve your community. Write to Project Main Street today.
CBS Sports presents Pennzoil at the Half, sponsored by Pennzoil. For more engine miles, Pennzoil works like liquid ball bearings.
Many people you think are watching basketball wearing suits today. Anyway, hi everybody, I'm Pat O'Brien along with Quinn Buckner and George Raveling. My partners here on Pennzoil at the Half. Gentlemen, nice to see you. Our score at halftime, Kansas and Iowa State. It's a one-point game, George. Are you surprised?
I am surprised because Iowa State's a very inexperienced tournament team playing an extremely experienced team in Kansas.
4 ties and 5 lead changes in this game.
Yeah, but what you're getting from Kansas, they got to get a first-year player, a freshman. Ryan Robertson has 5 points off the bench. It's been a sloppy game, one that you would expect Kansas to win. But if they've got to go to their bench to try to get some play, they're getting 11 points. You would expect more production from the team overall.
Turns out to be a good game, 28-27 at the half. In the ACC championship game, there you have it. Wake Forest leads Georgia Tech 39-24. Tim Duncan, a stat sheet stuffer, Quinn, 13 points, 15 rebounds, 2 block shots, 4 assists. He's 19 years old. Let's go last night to Big East. They're still talking about it here in New York City. Madison Square Garden. Ray Allen had missed 14 consecutive shots. And then with the game on the line, well, if you're going to make a shot, Q, this is the one you want to make.
Well, you want to make it when it's for the money. But I'm telling you, this is one tremendous athletic play here. This young man was taking the ball. He was going to pass it right to the corner. And at the last minute, eyes on the hoop, gets a lucky bounce to the top. Knock it down.
In. It's not lucky when it goes in, I don't think. Allen Iverson, John likes to have him perform and create, doesn't he?
They got the ball in the hands of the go-to man. They got a nice putback opportunity. It wasn't in the cards for the Warriors.
Now watch this. Jim Calhoun, as he should be, celebrating the Big East Championship, but then he sees John Thompson, and that's just a great shot, George.
And Jim Calhoun's emotions go from jubilation to compassion.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. And so congratulations to UConn. Reminder, at 3 o'clock Eastern, it's the SEC championship game between #1 ranked Kentucky Wildcats and the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. Then at 5:30 on the road to the Final Four preview show, we'll talk live with Jim Herrick, head coach of the reigning champion UCLA Bruins, Mike Jarvis of George Washington, anxious to see what his house looks like this year, and Jerry Tarkanian of Fresno State. Coming up next, we'll go to Kansas City for a conversation with Bob Frederick, chair of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee, when At the Half rolls on right after this.
At a height of 19 feet, the awkward-looking giraffe would appear to be at a disadvantage in the jungle. But in fact, his height is his greatest asset, allowing him to graze where others can't, easily survey the land, and take gigantic strides when threatened by predators. The preceding has been brought to you by the all-new Nissan Pathfinder, now with a higher stance and more headroom.
$100,000 right now.
The electronic world can be a treacherous place.
Yeah, well, look where we are. This doesn't look right. It looks great. I'm not happy here.
And if you've got some kind of off-the-shelf network that's not custom designed for your business, then something unexpected can happen.
It's not there yet?
Welcome back to Pennzoil at the Half. I'm Pat O'Brien. Gentlemen, where are we going? We're going to Kansas City and Andrea Joyce. Andrea? Kansas,
all right,
Andrea?
Pat, there you see the clock, the countdown, a little less than 4.5 hours to the selection show. And if it does seem like Bob Frederick is smiling a little bit more today, maybe it's because this is his last year on the committee, and you don't have to put up with any of this madness after this. It seems like everybody believes that Kentucky and Kansas will be #1 seeds regardless of what they do in their games today. Is that a fact?
I don't think that's a fact. All these games that are being played now, Andrea, have an impact on what's going to finally happen, and so we just have to wait and see how the end comes out.
Let's talk about the other two teams we think are the top seeds. You've got 2 very strong teams in the East, in UMass and UConn. How do you determine which one of those teams, assuming they're the #1 seeds, how would you determine which one would have to travel, because they're both so close to, say, Providence, one of the first-round sites in the East, and last year UConn had to go all the way west as a #2 seed. Does history factor in?
We do look at past history for traveling out of region, and what the committee tries to do is tries to keep, as best we can, people from moving as much as possible. And in the case of the teams from the East, we would preferably like to keep them in the East, but if to balance the bracket we need to move them, then we'll move them.
All right, Pat, Quinn, and George are in New York, and I know they've got plenty of questions for you guys.
Thank you, Andrea. Bob, thanks for joining us again. Kentucky can't play in the South, East, or the West. Will you explain that for the folks out there?
Well, they're playing, they can't play there because the regional, if they were to make it that far, is being hosted at Lexington, which is their home court, so they can't be there. And then we try to have a consideration for not playing on the same day that you're hosting a tournament at your home, in consideration for their staff and fans that would like to watch the team play.
Bob, Quinn Buckner, let's look at a situation where players missed the game for any reason, and then he's back near the latter part of the season. How do you evaluate and determine where you place the team, given that player had been missing, and assuming they've lost some games along that line?
Well, we have to consider a situation where a player misses a game, just like it's an injury. If a player sprained an ankle and was out for 5 games, we just have to try to see how the team did without that player and when that player comes back. And we just have to make the best judgment we can, Quinn.
George?
Bob, George Raveling. And take a team like Santa Clara that 2 years in a row they've been knocked out of the conference tournament in the first round. They've had a couple tough losses to teams in the bottom half of their conference. How much does that impact the selection committee's consideration of a team like Santa Clara?
Well, I don't feel comfortable, obviously, George, talking about Santa Clara in specific. We do not look at past history in a tournament. What we do look at is how the team has done this year and if they're one of the 34 best teams or not. But we do not look at past history at all.
Bob, give us a sense of where you are right now. Are you done? Are you almost done? Are you nearly there? Are you a long ways away? Where are you right now?
Pat, we're doing pretty well. We have 5 games that are being played today. The last one starts, I believe, at 2:15, and that still could have an effect on, you know, the seeding. But I think we're really in good shape, and we've had to make some really tough decisions, but we've got a great committee, and I'm really proud of the work that they've done, and they're all really knowledgeable about basketball. So I feel good about where we are.
Good.
Bob, Quinn Buckner again. The last spot is always one where everybody is just kind of dying, but as you go through that, how much do you look at head-to-head competition when you're trying to fill in that last spot?
That's really a good question. We look at head-to-head competition as well as about 5 or 6 really crucial stats where we can compare teams, road record, how teams do against the top 25, how they do against the top 50, top 100, and how they've played in the last 10 games. Those are probably the most important factors.
Bob, the 3 of us had a few ticket requests, but we'll wait till we see you first. Thanks for being a sport and being on with us. Andrea, thank you, and we'll see you guys later as we got 4 hours, 24 minutes, and 55 seconds to the selection show. Thank you. It all happens here, of course, at 6:30, so get ready to follow along and fill in your brackets at home. It's the NCAA Basketball Championship Selection Show with live, exclusive coverage of the selections for the tournament. Jim and Billy will be back with the second half of Iowa State, Kansas after a message and a word from your local station. Thank you for watching Pennzoil at the Half. Enjoy the second half here on CBS.
Pennzoil at the Half was sponsored by Pennzoil. For more engine miles, Pennzoil works like liquid ball bearings.
Natural ability can only take you so far. Equipment counts for a lot. I'm always checking out new ideas. You have to stay competitive. That's what I like about Pert Plus. Cleans and conditions in one step. No messing with 2 bottles. I get great results. No hassle, no fuss. Eventually, we all cross the finish. The winners just find a better way to get there.
Pert Plus, great hair, no fuss.
The mayhem, the mascots, the madness. It's that time for slamming and jamming. Rocking on the road to the Final Four. March Madness on CBS Sports.
You're on CBS.
If you want a great car at a great value, you want Ford Taurus. Now with 4.8 financing for 48 months or $600 cash back. And great new features like a standard V6 that's tune-up free for 100,000 miles. An air filtration system, flip-fold console, and more interior room than last year. All with 4.8 financing or $600 cash back at a price that's thousands less than Camry and Accord. So get a great car and a great value. Get Ford Taurus during the Great Percent event at your local Ford dealer.
That'll be $875 in 6 months.
What kind of weird world would this be?
Hey, that's okay. Pay me in 6 months.
I mean, what if nobody wanted their money for 6 months? Well, that's what's going on right now at Big Sur Waterbeds. Don't make a payment for 6 full months when you choose the waterbed or bedroom group you want. Enjoy the unmatched comfort of a Big Sur waterbed, payment free for 6 months. Hey, we don't want your money.
Not for 6 months.
Big Sur Waterbeds, America's largest.
I'm Dan Rather. Join me for the CBS Evening News, followed by News Channel 8.
CBS Sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, where safety, reliability, performance, and value are never optional. Pert Plus shampoo and conditioner, great hair, no fuss. And by Gillette Sensor Excel and the Gillette Series, Gillette, the best a man can get.
All right, welcome back to Kemper Arena with Kansas holding on to a 1-point halftime lead with Jim Nantz and Billy Packer here courtside. And here come the Kansas Jayhawks. Many feel headed west as the #1 seed. But Billy, what about your thoughts on the first half of action here today?
Well, I really think Kansas is a team that's more talented in terms of players, and obviously they have a much deeper team. That should be shown by bench scoring. They had 11 of the 28 points that Kansas got came from the bench, 0 from Iowa State.
How about the coach's edge that you spotted in the first half? What does that reveal?
Well, one of the things that we can see Kansas do more often, I think, is to get the ball down inside. Now, here we'll see the pass going over to Vaughn. Screening on the inside, a back screen, setting up a nice solid pass to the inside for Vaughn to go back inside to Pollard. Pass goes over to Vaughn. There's the back screen. Boom, right on inside. Pollard puts it away. You'll see it here in the real play. Jacque Vaughn comes out. There's the back screen. Right over the top of the defenders. Pollard puts it away. I really think the high-low effect by Kansas is something that Iowa State could have real problems with.
Halftime stats. Remember the one you had about Iowa State when it has a better field goal percentage than its opponent?
19-0. Yep.
A slight edge there for the Cyclones.
How about rebounding? Iowa State, the rebounding edge right there. They're a team that on the year is out-rebounded by 5 a game. Kansas with the best rebounding margin of any team in the Big 8, so big change.
In the first 2 meetings between the two, Kansas out-rebounded Iowa State by 12 and then by 11. But Iowa State with a 5-rebound advantage today.
Jim, one of the other things we have to start thinking a little bit about here, but you know emotions are running so high for Iowa State, and that is stamina. You know, Kansas with their deep bench really is fresh. Iowa State could start wearing down 3 games in 3 days. A lot of guys playing a lot of minutes. Unfortunately for Iowa State, Cato is not one of them. As I said yesterday, on the bench for all but 15 minutes, so he should be fresh.
You look at Kansas in the first half, field goals made, Billy. Pierce, LaFrentz, Pollard, Haase, Vaughn all made 1 shot from the field, as did Pearson from off the bench. Only Ryan Robertson with 2 buckets. So, I mean, the distribution and scoring for Kansas.
9 men scored.
It's amazing.
Here we see Kansas going back in that 1-3-1 zone. Start off the second half. They'll have to keep their eye on Willoughby here. He cuts to the opposite side, looking to pick up a screen. Beautiful feed.
And Cato puts the Cyclones ahead by 1.
You know, there is an assist to Holloway without question, okay? A physical assist. But there should be a mental assist to Willoughby. Kansas was so concerned with him cutting to the other side that they gave up everything inside, and Holloway noticed it and threaded it perfectly. Great way to start the second half.
Foul called on Pollard. Trying to position inside. His first.
So we'll see the play right here. See, Kansas is so concentrating on where Willoughby's going. LaFrentz was watching him all the way out to the corner. Left his area of the zone totally vacant. Good put in by Cato. And they get out of the zone. 1 time down the floor, they show zone. Right back to man-to-man.
Traveling.
Pierce said, no, you're not going to do that to me again. But again, I don't understand how people play Iowa State. I think you want to force Holloway to put the ball on the floor and make him make shots. Don't guard Pratt unless he's down on the inside. Stay all over Willoughby. I don't know where their points come otherwise. But a lot of teams, Jim, do not like to get away from what their philosophy is on a year-to-year basis. Some coaches will say and use specific defenses for certain teams.
There's the France gives them the lead. 30-29 Kansas.
The Jim Valvano style of coaching would work well against this Iowa State team, or the Al McGuire style, where they would change specifically for 1 game to stop 1 team. Roy Williams is more like the Dean Smith style, where he's going to use his theory no matter what he's going up against.
And that's a basket by Pratt. +1.
And as I said, the only place Pratt's going to hurt you is within 4 feet of the basket, and there's no double teaming down there on him.
Second foul called on Pierce. Pratt with 11 on the game.
See, he's down so low to the basket that at 6'4", And the great footwork, he just gets the shots off.
Boy, that was,
and gets a rebound.
It was really ugly, though, and rebounded by LaFrentz. That was wide left.
Tim Floyd wanted his team on that foul line again. And surprisingly, in the first half, another unusual stat, Kansas actually went to the line more than Iowa State did.
Vaughn says, I'll take the three. Perfect. 7 for Vaughn. Willoughby quickly, though, answers at the other end.
Big mistake by Kansas.
Vaughn spinning free, driving, blocked by Cato. Holloway has it. Iowa State looking for a fast break basket, and Bankhead travel.
But don't you get the feeling that Kansas can run that kind of a break all day long? Iowa State doesn't want to. And here they come again. Charge
all the way. Cato drew it.
I don't know why Roy Williams is upset. Pierce committed himself 18 feet from the basket. Roy doesn't want to get a technical foul. We saw some here yesterday that changed the course of the game. Missouri. And Roy Williams better be careful. You're talking about 33-34 score. You get a technical. And the ball.
That looked like Hank Nichols in our basketball seminar explaining the draw charge. And Pratt banks it home. Holloway reaching in. They call him for a foul or just what?
It's a foul. I don't know why he challenged Vaughn that far away from the basket.
Billy, the West bracket, or the West sites, I should say, Albuquerque and Tempe, with the regional being in Denver. And a lot of people like to place Kansas out west. What do you think?
I think you'll see Arizona there. Good play by Willoughby. Smart play.
Willoughby just reaching right in, all ball.
He really anticipated the play.
You're going to say Arizona and Tempe,
yeah,
but not the number 1 seed.
No.
Let me clarify that. Kansas has not been west in the tournament since 1978. That shot partially blocked, I believe. At release, Cato steps inside.
I think Cato should have put that one straight up, gone to the foul line. Sometimes try to draw the foul, even when if you're in that tight, as opposed to getting off the clean shot.
DJ Williams in. Pollard to the bench. 36-33. Iowa State.
During the game at Kansas this year, in the second half, Kansas had a 15-0 run.
Broke open a tight one.
You don't see any sign that that's going to happen today, the way Iowa State's playing.
Pierce able to free himself. Got a little help with a screen. Iowa State having won by 2 over Nebraska, by 4 over Missouri. Controversial game.
Pearson, Chauncey Billups, co-freshman of the year in the league. Billups from Colorado, outstanding guard.
A little bit short, but underneath Pratt.
Oh, he's amazing.
He is.
Amazing at 6'4".
Hey, do you like the Dantley comparison?
No, I think Adrian was a much bigger player. You know, Adrian was 6'5", almost 6'6". And much more talented, but this guy
but I just meant the way he works inside.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for undersized. Can't compare him quite yet to an NBA All-Star.
No.
Bankhead. Oh, he had a chance inside. Pierce was on him.
I tell you, the pace of this game now starting to go Kansas' way. I realize that they haven't been able to take advantage of it score-wise, but they're going to wear this team down running this hard.
Williams just too open. Pass. And a foul this time called on Pratt.
Cato asking to come out right now. He's tired. Willoughby going on the inside. There is Pratt again. Finds a way. What a competitor.
You just look at Pratt, you can't imagine that he can compete inside.
Nope. Went to 2 different junior colleges after an outstanding high school career in Chicago.
Haase will shoot 2.
You know, this is what Tim Floyd has done is very much like Nolan Richardson down at Arkansas. I mean, to take over 10 new players. It's kind of interesting. People talked to Tim Floyd about the fact that having all these new players, he said, hey, for my staff, I came to Iowa State. It was 12 new players last year because we hadn't worked it all with them, but they lost 95% of their scoring and 96% of their rebounding. The likes of Hoiberg and Meyer and Mikalik.
% of people prefer vanilla ice cream. 66% are in favor of a 4-day work week. 38% of people enjoy reading. Statistics prove people don't always like the same things. But consider this. 98% of GeoPrism owners would recommend Prism to a friend. So get to know GeoPrism. Statistically speaking, you're bound to love it.
Face it, no other razor shaves closer or with more comfort than Gillette Sensor XL. Soft microfins that protect your skin and individually spring-mounted twin blades that adjust to your face. No razor feels more comfortable during your shave or leaves your face smoother after. Gillette Sensor XL. And try new Gillette Aftershave, a splash that moisturizes as it refreshes.
At an event that lasts just 2 weeks and features contests that last just 10 seconds, 24 hours is an eternity. Fortunately, UPS now guarantees overnight delivery as early as 8 a.m. from cities worldwide. If UPS can make urgent international deliveries to people who measure their accomplishments in seconds, think what they can do for those on a more relaxed schedule. UPS, worldwide Olympic sponsor.
This NABC Coaches Moment is presented by UPS.
The toughest opponent Missouri's Norm Stewart ever faced was cancer. Having survived, the coach helped devise the three-point attack. Coaches Against Cancer teams up with the American Cancer Society and local businesses who donate money for every three-point shot. This season, Coaches Against Cancer hopes to raise $1 million for research and education. Norm Stewart has taken this tiger by the tail.
Iowa State's largest lead in this game was 5. Kansas's largest lead 4. As we have 15 minutes and change remaining on Selection Sunday. And there's Dedric Willoughby, leading scorer for Iowa State with 15 today.
Robertson will take his time on Holloway. That puts Vaughn over here on Willoughby. Willoughby looking to get some screens on the baseline to get off that jumper. And now here's a clear out to Pratt.
Saw this a lot against Missouri.
I really love the play. It's a terrific offensive structure when you've got a young man that can post up like he can. Most of the time you see a clear out for a guy that's like a Ray Allen type.
4 on the shot clock. Has to get rid. Look at this.
Got it. Yes. Got it.
I can see it all the way.
Boy, Jim, there was no doubt about it, was there?
Dedric Willoughby, just a dead-eye 3 from about 30 feet.
That was about 8 feet past the line. Terrific jump shot.
Last grazed the fingertips of an Iowa State player. I could just see it the minute it left his hands, Billy. Had a chance.
Well, farther, that's 10 feet beyond the line.
30 feet?
Yeah. You're all over it, Jim.
I'll send you to math school.
Yeah. Hey, we're talking about a team picked to finish 8th in this league preseason against the team picked to finish 1st. And here they are battling their hearts out for the championship. Terrific story.
It really is. Iowa State leading by 4. Pierce, he'll take it right over Bankhead. Cato had the position underneath.
Hey, that rest Cato got yesterday, I think, is really going to help this ball club. He's fresh on the glass. Tim Floyd working that sideline over there, Jim. He and Norm Stewart really went after each other yesterday, didn't they? That was almost a game within itself.
Inside, Bankhead banks it home. 6-point lead, Iowa State's largest.
You see some doubt in Kansas's eyes, don't you?
Yeah, Pierce is a little upset about that.
As I said, Iowa State last year got to the final game against Oklahoma State to be denied by Eddie Sutton's club. They're back into the box and won now.
Pierce short on a 3. Pratt rebound. No hurry. Leading by 6. Well, now they find an open man. Bankhead. Hold on a minute.
Golden goaltending.
Basket interference.
Roy Williams may have to go for a timeout here just to get his club settled down. Yeah, he's going for a 22nd.
Did you see anything there that looked like goaltending?
No, I sure didn't.
What is at risk here for Kansas, Billy?
#1 seed.
You think so?
Purdue, Iowa yesterday. Let's see this play here. He never touched that ball. Now, official could have been blocked out, but I don't think LaFrentz ever touched it. Let's see. Now, see, from that angle, it looks like he did. From the other angle, I don't believe he ever got his hands on the ball. And you can tell by his reaction, he doesn't know what they're talking about.
Let me ask you that again. If Kansas loses here, you do think they lose a #1 seed?
I do. I do.
I don't. But, you know, I don't know. But who would take the 1 seed? Purdue?
Yeah, they lost at Iowa. A tough game on the road yesterday. Here you have Kansas playing a neutral site, but basically a home site for them.
We'll have to talk about Iowa State's options here, win or lose. You know they're in. I think they could be like a 4 seed if they would pull off the upset here. And there's a steal by Iowa State. What a flurry this is now for the Cyclones.
Well, how did they get here? They earned it. You know, nobody voted these guys anything.
LaFrentz, good piece of rebounding right there.
Jim, a lot of time in this game. Let's see if Kansas goes back, instead of panicking here, goes back to the high-low game and start using their inside power. Now, they're not doing that. Really a sense of panic here by Kansas offensively. Not like a Roy Williams coach team. Pratt likes to play against tall, thin guys. He's got Williams on him now. There he is. Oh, that time. Beautiful pass.
Cato had it stripped, though, by Vaughn. Near the conclusion of this game, we'll be selecting a genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from each team. Cato about to go up with it. Vaughn fouled him. Actually, it was on Williams, his second. 45-37. 12 minutes remaining and 5 wholesale changes coming in for Kansas. They bring in Pearson, Haase, Pollard, Raef, and T.J. Pugh.
Jim, one thing I'll point out also, and when you get in championship games like this, guys, you talk about a lack of stamina, but you can get so emotionally high that you just don't even feel being tired. And that's what I think's happening to this Iowa State bunch right now. Kansas going to try to go ahead one more time to hit them with shock troops. But you don't sense that these kids are tired.
Willoughby, three-pointer. Well, he can shoot. You almost expect him to go in. Pollard took a nasty fall, and it's off Kansas.
Cato drove Pollard right out of bounds. That should have been a foul.
There is a timeout on the floor, official timeout. CBS Sports coverage of the Big 8 Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
I have 165,000 miles on my car, and I use it to commute down into the city. I love my car. My car is my baby, and I trust Pennzoil.
With its revolutionary Pennstar molecule, Pennzoil clings to moving parts, works like liquid ball bearings.
I'm a doctoral grad student in psychology. I change my oil about every 3,000 miles, but of course, the oil really has to want to change.
It's showtime, baby! Hey, net $4 on a case of Pennzoil or 33 cents on every quart.
This is CBS.
Most healthcare plans only pay for healthcare when you're sick.
Hi, Katie. I see that you brought your daddy with you today.
Unity Choice pays to keep you healthy, too.
Stick your tongue out and say, ah.
With paid physicals, exams, well baby care.
Look straight ahead while I check your eyes.
And immunizations.
That wasn't so bad, was it?
Good girl. Unity Choice, the lower-cost healthcare plan that pays to keep you healthy, too.
Spring, 93. Normal rainfall. Frontier outperforms Dual 2. 94. Dry. Frontier outperforms Dual 2. 95. Wet. Frontier outperforms Dual 2. Frontier's chemistry activates with less moisture and stays in the weed zone better when it's wet. For safe, season-long grass control. Wet, dry, or average. If you've been using Dual 2, you can do better. Frontier.
Spirit Lake is our next stop on the Iowa Lottery Winners Tour.
I was bouncing off the walls, screaming, yelling, hollering. Everybody in the neighborhood heard me.
What were you yelling?
We won! We won! We just kept looking at each other and saying to each other, wouldn't it be nice?
So, Don, would you say that's your favorite song these days?
That sure is my favorite song. I believe it.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Interact with News Channel 8 on the internet at kcci.com.
All right, you can set your watch to it. 4 hours until the NCAA selection show. Jim Nantz, Billy Packer, and your argument now of Kansas, should it lose here, missing out on a #1 seed and Purdue getting it. Tell me about this a little bit more.
The chairman said they hadn't made all their decisions. Have to wait till some games end. I have to give some credence to what the man says. He's the boss. Now, why wouldn't you wait till this game ends? Otherwise, you'd already have Kansas to #1.
Well, it didn't necessarily mean it was this game.
Well, I'm gonna
have the Big West, the SEC, the ACC finals.
I want you to be wrong one time on the brackets. That's all.
Pratt hit the floor, committed the foul. I tell you, Bob Frederick did say something I thought very telling in that halftime interview, and that was when it was discussed about UConn or UMass in the East, which one gets the East. And I kind of sense from that
they traveled before,
that UConn, having traveled west last year, might be in the East, and UMass might move.
Let's see if this 5 can get some high-low action going in the post. That's what Kansas has not done today very well.
Rayford inside, bounce pass. Cato says, oh no, and a tie-up. They call it a jump ball. Arrow belongs to Kansas.
Cato with another excellent block. Good timing on his part. Little reach over. It's his 3rd on the day. He's had 5 in the opening round of this tournament.
This is one Cato, I guess you could say, who's in the right place at the right time.
That's sweet.
1 second on the shot clock. Thanks for your support. 1 second. It's the second time we've had this situation today.
You know, Jim, it's kind of interesting in this league. Not since '92 has the #1 seeded team won this tournament.
1 second. Pollard got it as you diagram it.
The only way.
Beautiful. And that might be the boost that Kansas needs here after a lackluster stretch.
Well, one of the things that happens with this team, the ball gets in Willoughby's hands or Holloway's hands, and it just calms down the entire club.
And clear out again. Pratt, 2 players on him. He still always gets that shot off, and more often than not, finds himself marching to the free throw line.
Here we see the move. Look at who set the screen. The smallest man on the floor. Rayford goes down underneath, sets the big screen, allows Pollard to have the perfect touch shot.
Of course, Pollard going up like an old volleyball player that he is, you know, looking for the spike at the net. And that's what he did right there for 2. Pratt, back of the rim Blues.
Pratt and Willoughby have gone to the line this year, combined going into this ball game, 433 times. That's amazing, isn't it?
That is a bunch. And that's one of the reasons why this team has had such a successful season.
See, they're not. What you have there is Cato's not guarding anybody. There's Pearson with another solid-looking shot from the outside.
You take today and yesterday, that senior has come off the bench and hit 3 out of 3 from three-point land. 46-42 Cyclones.
Haase giving Willoughby the right-hand side of the floor. Not letting him go left. That's unusual for a right-handed shooter.
Holloway. Not this time. Pearson underneath.
He'd rather pass it than shoot it.
Saved by Pugh. Freshman on the baseline. Charge.
And that's the second great charge situation that Cato has pulled. Here you see Pugh going in, Cato waiting on him. He did that with Pierce, so the two freshmen charge right into him.
5 subs for Kansas. This time LaFrentz, Vaughn, Robertson, Pierce, and Williams come in.
You're trying to see Roy Williams change momentum, regain focus on the part of his starters. And he goes over and talks to Pearson. You know, that's a great coaching move right there, isn't it? Talking to that senior that he can sense is ready to really do some big things in the tournament to come.
Yep, knows he's going to be a key player for them come next week.
That's what always happens, you know, Jim, in an NCAA tournament is some guy steps up that really hadn't done it before. Harold Jensen from Villanova. Remember, you can go back through the years. That's what's so exciting about it. The uncertainty of who is that going to be.
Pratt put it up that time off the back of the rim. And Iowa State's missed its last 6 from the field.
They stay man. Pratt not guarding the Kansas man at the top of the key.
Off Pratt. Did a good job of knocking it out of bounds. Kentucky and Mississippi State are next with the SEC final.
You know, Jim, we all talk about Kentucky and how they've been blowing everybody away, but quietly, Mississippi State, a team that last year we talked about having a chance maybe to be Final Four, returning most of their players this year, but a very poor December and January, and now starting to play solid.
Look at Holloway come in and get a tie-up situation and get Iowa State the ball because they had the arrow.
You know what's interesting? You have Roy Williams substituting in 5s. You have Tim Floyd substituting in seconds. He has, you know, he takes a Holloway out for 30 seconds. Pratt asked to come out for a minute.
Just no bench.
No bench.
But also Roy Williams not falling far from that North Carolina upbringing with the 5 subs, right?
Yep. Who will ever forget the Michigan-North Carolina game when 5 guys were out on that floor in the key situation that really you'd never anticipate.
8:20 remaining in this one. Cato. A lot of players around him. Kansas converged to take it away.
Doesn't really have the great hands to handle it in traffic like that. They're really looking to go inside now. Cato playing a one-man zone down inside. See, he doesn't even go out on Kansas big man.
And the rebound lands in the hands of the Cyclones.
Jump shot.
Done it before. Made it, but not that time. That pull-up 3 by Willoughby. Pierce should have had that one.
Probably should have, but when you think about it, Jim, you're down 4, not really the play to make if you're Robertson. You know, where was Pierce going to go with it if he caught it?
Stuck on this score for a while. 46-42. Iowa State with 7:23 to go in the game.
Tim Floyd would love to have Pratt on the floor right now to be that secondary scorer.
3-minute dry spell with both teams. Willoughby turned it over.
See, without that second score, there was no place to go but Willoughby. That hurt Iowa State.
Just a turnover, not a foul, but Iowa State still leads.
If you let me play.
You let me play sports.
I will like myself more. I'll have more self-confidence. If you let me play sports.
If you let me play.
If you let me play. I will be 60% less likely to get breast cancer. I will suffer less depression.
If you let me play sports.
I will be more likely to leave a man who beats
If you
me.
let me play.
I'll be less likely to get pregnant before I want to.
I will learn.
I will learn what it means to be strong.
To be strong.
If you let me play.
Play sports.
If you let me play sports.
On one side, you've got the Atlantic. On the other, the Pacific. And in between, the wide-open spaces of the Chevy S-Series. Pack your bags. Chevy trucks like a rock.
For the most part, people look to their cars as a way to get where they're going. And if your car doesn't perform, well, you could end up somewhere you don't want to be. We don't want that. That's why for nearly 80 years, people from far and wide have counted on Phillips to get them on their way. Mile after mile, year after year. For all the miles to come, Phillips 66, the performance company.
Well, it can't get any worse than this.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down.
I stand corrected.
Make it a Bud Light.
You're never gonna get it open.
Back at Kemper Arena, where Iowa State leads Kansas 46-42. 7 minutes, 9 seconds remaining. Jim Nantz, Billy Packer, courtside, will be heading over to the Hyatt here in Kansas City, where the NCAA Selection Committee gathers. Got here on Thursday, and we'll have the live exclusive announcement, the first announcement tonight here on CBS.
Jim, they were kidding Tim Floyd in the post-game press conference yesterday about the fact that they only scored 50 when they played Kansas last time. He said, well, I guess our goal will then to hold them to 49. He's not too far from that target.
Is it?
There's that high-low again, but Cato's playing a one-man zone in the paint, not guarding Williams, so that makes it tough to get it down to LaFrentz.
Oh, what a huge three that is. Freshman Paul Pierce.
Roy Williams loved that one.
Makes it a one-point game. Iowa State by 1.
That's out in the game now, so 2 scores on the floor.
Iowa State led by as many as 8.
Holloway didn't want to give up his dribble down in that corner. Dangerous.
4 on the shot clock.
Look at Vaughn and Holloway go after it.
Never touched the rim, so the shot clock expires. Turnover.
Floyd wanted some fouls on the play. None called.
Hold on a minute now. There is a little summit here with Ed Hightower. Now, Holloway put up the shot off the glass, but Billy, I don't believe it touched the rim.
I don't think so either. That was just a desperation heave, and we're getting quite a conference here. Boy, that was something. Boom, no, it never hit the rim. Never hit the rim. But there were some fouls on that, but nothing called. Game getting tough inside.
Maybe they're trying to ascertain if the shot clock went off before they saw the foul inside. Because it looked like Eddie Hightower was about to make a call.
Yeah, there was definitely a foul on the inside.
Watch the official underneath the basket.
Here you see there was one. There's another foul. A lot of hand checking. Shot goes up. Pratt gets it, and they're over his back. It looks like Hightower's ready to call the foul.
That's ready to call a foul on Pierce.
great young coaches there. How about Jim? Kansas with 7 straight NCAA tournaments, first time in their history.
And they're going to give the ball to Kansas, and turnover, shot clock violation.
Ed Hightower, the lead official here, one of the best in the business. Only trying to do what's fair, huh?
No question about that. Coach, you see on the right of your screen, just sitting now on the Iowa State bench. The father of, there he is, in the center.
Another young
father of Neil Reed from Indiana.
He'll be in the NCAA tournament, too. Again, look at where Cato is, Jim. He's down playing a one-man zone. So Kansas never taken advantage of that with somebody on the foul line just to shoot a jump shot.
Take the lead on this shot. No, Cato with a big-time rejection.
See, there's the one-man zone you're not anticipating as a penetrator.
Willoughby gets it back for another go. LaFrentz tipped it out, and he touched it last. It's a nasty fall into press row.
You'll see where Cato is on this play. See, Pierce thinks he's free, but he's not free because Cato is guarding one thing, and that is the area in the paint about 6 feet from the basket. You've got to occupy him. Either set a screen with that man that he's guarding, make him do something other than just blocking everything down inside.
He's blocked 4 shots today. Pollard back into the lineup for Kansas. Iowa State to Pratt. Perfect. That broke now a string of 10 straight misses from the field.
Well, Phillips' 66 tournament record is 5 blocks, which he now shares with Al Beal and Danny Manning. So shoot it.
On. Oh, look at this.
Can you believe that? If he puts up the shot, when he has Holloway on his back, he gets the 3.
They're going to reset the shot clock. It'll be Iowa State ball. Vaughn only 2 out of 9 from the field.
Looks like he's calling a walk. Yeah, see, he's not calling a walk. The ball is stuck up here. Jump ball situation. Go back to Kansas. Held ball situation. Kansas had the arrow, so they get it back. But if Vaughn would have thrown up that shot as Holloway was on his back, he'd have been shooting 3 foul shots.
And Roy Williams,
he's all over the rules.
Alternating possession is what you have to do here, but at first Iowa State, everybody was assuming it was.
Now we have arrows pointing in 2 directions.
Well, one is a bonus arrow over there. So. It is Kansas ball. Exactly 5 minutes remaining. Kansas down 3. Pierce hacked from behind by Pratt. Thursday at noon, the tournament gets underway. 16 games on Thursday, 16 more on Friday. First tip around 12:15 Eastern time. That was the 4th foul on Pratt. So Paul Pierce struggled a bit late in this season, Billy, but certainly is quite a weapon for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Jim, in 95, 7.9% of the starts were made by freshmen in the Big 8. This year, 15.8%. So freshmen like Pierce had a lot to do with the development in this league this year. Bodes well for the future.
79, what was that? 79.
15.8% of the starts were by freshmen this year in this league. So young league.
48-46.
Double of what it was last year.
Cato
got inside.
Oh, but Pollard shows him he too can reject, and Kansas comes up with it.
That's a smart play by Vaughn to double down on Pratt. Don't give him room in there.
For the lead, that was a 3, and into the arms of LaFrentz, +1.
Boy, a huge break for Kansas. Pollard and LaFrentz keeping it occupied. I think LaFrentz got hit in the eye. The two big guys played volleyball here, Jim. As you mentioned before, Pollard, a volleyball player, and just kept it alive. What are you allowed? 3 taps in volleyball? He got in all 3.
And a 20-second timeout called by Iowa State.
1-2, alive for the put-away.
48-48, and LaFrentz with a chance to give Kansas the lead at the line. Some say Kansas playing for a #1 seed today.
You're looking right at me, Jim.
You know,
I thought before you said it was already done.
I really believe Kansas is a 1, regardless of outcome, and I think they merit that too on their season.
Pratt got caught right in the middle of the 2 big Kansas players, and they played volleyball right over his head. It's the kind of game you'd hate to see anybody lose. Kind of like that Connecticut Georgetown last night.
LaFrentz, 68%. 1 out of 3 today. Boy, the horn went off on release.
Yes, it did.
I mean, had he missed, I think they would have had to give him another shot. Ryan Robertson will check in.
That's one of those, Jim. You
talk about a quick horn.
Working in a golf tournament, I'd be like a guy around a putt like that. Under the horn sound right behind him. And Roy Williams making sure it doesn't happen again.
Just listen to this. Beat the buzzer. Beat the shot clock, Billy.
They went 1-3-1 again, and every time they've done it today,
Cato.
Jim, the 1-3-1 has really hurt Kansas. Excellent passing inside, and Cato took advantage.
Watch this form, and he's heading to the line for a possible 3-point play.
But Holloway has threaded the needle against the 1-3-1 all day long, and there he hits Cato perfectly.
They're not going to count the basket.
Why? Definitely in the motion.
Now, you see emphatically Hightower pointing outside, so instead of a 3-point play,
he's definitely in the act of shooting there.
Well, he'll be in the act of shooting a 1-and-1 here when we come back. The 22nd timeout called by Kansas.
But you saw Tim Floyd turn around and said, you guys missed that one.
Well, you could go from a 3-point play to a scoreless trip. To a scoreless trip. Officials timeout. We'll be right back.
At a time when your family is growing and your income seems to be shrinking, the price of some family sedans is getting out of reach. Introducing Chevy Lumina. With standard features like automatic, air conditioning, and power locks, you can feel comfortable in it. With dual airbags and front and rear crush zones, you can feel safe in it. And for over $2,000 less than Ford Taurus GL, you can actually afford it. The 1996 Lumina. It's a car your family can trust. Now get low 4.8% financing on Lumina at your local Chevrolet Geo dealer.
I am one with my Pizza Hut Rawlings game ball. I am a human highlight film. I am awesome. But I ate the whole pizza that comes with the ball. So I am incredibly slow.
I'm leaving. The game ball, $4.99 with any pizza. Keep the ball, share the pizza.
Fool, you'll love the stuff we're made of.
Face it, no other razor shaves closer or with more comfort than Gillette Sensor XL. No razor is better.
Oh, right and right and right. You're too old to own a computer.
Yep.
Right and right every Saturday.
I know.
You should let your students do that. Come to the market with me.
No, I gotta work.
Enterprise? Hi, I'm at the repair shop. I need to rent a car.
Enterprise will arrange to pick you up,
This is great.
drive you to our place, and get you on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
When a prominent law professor teaches that black juries should refuse to convict black defendants, even if they're guilty, that should get your attention. Sure got ours. 60 Minutes, tonight.
What a battle for the final Big 8 title. Iowa State and Kansas. These two were the 1 and 2 seeds 10 years ago in 1986, and they played in the Big 8 championship game. Kansas won that one, went on to the Final Four that year.
Lost to Duke University. Danny Manning got in foul trouble in the first half. Remember that?
Yeah, sure do. Cato 1-1 as they took the basket away. For the shot, they say, and he'll shoot one more.
Well, Jim, as you pointed out, that could have been a potential 3 down to 0, but Cato at least gets one of them back.
He started backpedaling almost as though he thought he was only getting one there after the made basket. Notice that? Maybe he wasn't aware they didn't count the basket.
No, I think he knew exactly what happened to him, and they get 1 point, and here's Pratt. 6'4", playing like 7'4".
Willoughby off the mark. And Kansas ball, 49's on the board.
Boy, it is really hard to believe that this Iowa State team could replace 95% of their scoring and 96% of their rebounding to be back here in a championship hunt. Terrific job.
Freshman puts up the 3. Pugh.
Boy, he had an opportunity to get in 4 or 5 feet closer and get the same shot. Kansas has not taken advantage of that all day. Pratt with Vaughn down inside. They can't get there. It is.
Pratt, players draped on him, and he'll get the basket this time. Will Iowa State, and he'll shoot one.
He has it down to a science, Jim. Watch the footwork here. He has Vaughn on him, spins to the inside, gathers himself.
Got to have brilliant footwork to be that size and be able to free yourself and wriggle your way to get shots inside over much taller players.
And plus, he's awful strong.
11 rebounds and 20 points. A double-double for Pratt, but doesn't finish off the three-point play.
Had 31 against Kansas State for his high on the year. Was picked the Big 8 Player of the Year.
Of the week.
Of the week, I mean. It's kind of interesting. Only Willoughby, who won Big 8 Player of the Week twice. Everybody else, one was most that anybody else had. Shows the balance not only of the league, but also the players.
LaFrentz, Cato for a 5th time, tying the tournament record.
Of his own. One more, and he'll hold it by himself.
2-point lead with possession. 2:40 to go.
Now you've got Willoughby and Pratt. Well, Vaughn is on Pratt. I don't know why that's taking place.
Well, he's fronting him pretty good, though.
Yeah, I know. He's got a lot of movement on him, but Pratt will set him up.
Willoughby. Rebound. Haase had it, and then he was hacked.
Vaughn is on the floor with Pratt.
Foul called on Bankhead of Iowa State. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by Sybil and then Bonnie, and then Brett Butler hosts the 22nd Annual People's Choice Awards. Pollard back in. How about the People's Choice in this arena? I mean, it's pretty evenly split in terms of ticket holders here, wouldn't you say, Bill?
It really is. I think one of the great stories, the Iowa State young woman induced labor on Tuesday so she could have her baby, and actually brought her baby to the game Friday.
3-day-old baby.
Yeah. Now that's support. See, nobody's guarding Pollard, and he's looking around for somebody to pass to.
Oh, loose ball landed in the hands of Pollard, and Iowa State's Holloway commits the personal.
Well, I think Cato's raising his hand. I don't know who they're going to call it on. He shouldn't have raised his hand, but he did.
That's the 3rd.
How about Georgia Tech? Big comeback there, Jim.
Yes.
We talked about all these teams that have won multiple championships like Massachusetts and Kentucky. In the ACC, if Wake Forest were to win that championship down there, it'd be the first time in 14 years that a team has repeated as champion in that particular league. Now, you talk about some balance. That's through all the Carolina great teams and the Duke great teams.
2 shots for Pollard. 1:58 remaining. He can tie the game if he hits them both. An unusual release at the line. He'll get one more. Jacque Vaughn's roommate.
Well, Tim Floyd said they'd have to hold him to 49. They have him at 51. And he wasn't far off.
51 all. Kansas putting on some pressure. Had a little trap there for a moment.
Now it's Williams down there with Pratt. I think that's where Iowa State should go.
Over the top, Pollard. Volleyball style again, Billy. He tipped it out to Haase. The arrow this time, though, Iowa State. How about this? You want an even game?
Let me ask you a question. Does Iowa State have a point off the bench yet? I don't think so.
No.
The difference in bench scoring will be phenomenal.
But you expected that going into this game, though, right? That's not a huge surprise.
But it's tough to get up enough points.
Oh, look at that. Pierce saw it coming. They lobbed it in the air, and he picked it off. Now, Kansas, 1:30 to go.
And it's 51 all. All you want to do is get the ball in bounds. Don't try to make the big play.
14-0 is the answer, Billy, on the bench. Scoring.
A 51-point game, that's a lot of points. Pollard's got him.
Pollard with the left hand. Kansas has come from 8 down to take the lead.
Tim Floyd wants a timeout.
Timeout, Iowa State, 1:03 remaining. What a scene in Kansas City. Pollard puts the Jayhawks ahead.
Of course, to find that out, you'd have to sell it.
Mike Klein's been my State Farm agent for 9 years, and he's been a coach in the community for 3. He's as dedicated to those kids as he is to his policyholders. The most important thing that I can do right now in my life is to protect my family in the future. The way he handles my life insurance shows it's important to him too. My other friends who have State Farm life insurance say the same thing about their agents. You know, I think there is something to this good neighbor business.
State Farm is there.
At Citgo, our super premium gasoline will give you the high performance you demand. So prepare yourself to be totally blown away. Super premium performance. Citgo says go.
Meet David Letterman. He's a big fan of the new show Bonnie, starring Bonnie Hunt. You have a show? Catch the premiere of Bonnie tonight after Sybil here on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Citgo. Just get up and go. Citgo says go.
With 13 minutes remaining, Iowa State led 45-37, but Kansas has outscored them 16-6 since that time. And Billy, let's talk some strategy here with 1:03 on the clock.
I think if you're Tim Floyd, let's face it, you got 2 guys that brought you this far. One of those 2 guys have got to have the ball in their hands. I think it's to go down to Pratt inside, particularly if he's being guarded by somebody that he can handle physically. He's got Williams on him. And that's the route that I'd go, that little clear-out play that they use so effectively to get Pratt the ball down low.
Wake Forest beats Georgia Tech. The ACC championship game with the same final as the Big East score of last night.
Yeah, Williams and Pratt spreading it out. Here he comes. It's clear out for Pratt.
Has to kick it back out to Holloway. 3. Wow.
Huge.
Where does that come from?
Huge. They had the triple team Pratt. Left Holloway wide open.
His first points of the game. Pierce, though, can get it back. Long rebound to Haase.
Take the ball to the basket inside.
A little unsettled, and Roy Williams wants a timeout. Iowa State takes the lead on an unlikely 3 from Jacy Holloway.
Todd and Celia Unger began their voyage together nearly 40 years ago. Today, they embark on retirement as carefree as when they first set out. That's because for the past 20-some years, they've worked with a broker from Dean Witter.
Respect the power of a client's dream and help them achieve it.
At Dean Witter,
we measure success one investor at a time.
My migraines kept me from my daughter.
The nausea was awful.
The pain was right here.
There's help for migraine. Migraine doesn't have to mean missing out. Research has given doctors new understanding about migraine. They can diagnose it better and provide surprisingly effective treatment programs.
My doctor helped so much.
Call your doctor today or call 1-800-682-6669 for more information about migraine.
Jimmy, here's what I expected to happen. Pratt gets the ball, but look at, he's surrounded by 3 players. Leaves Holloway wide open. Pratt wisely gets the ball back outside. Holloway, unlikely guy to take the shot, but he's wide open. And a young man that's been part of 4 state championships knows how to come up big, even though that might not be what you expect him to do.
Well said.
They figure out a way to win games.
All right, Billy, 24 seconds to go. No shot clock factor now. Kansas down 1. Would you consider going for the last shot if you're Roy Williams?
I think if you're the better team, you want to lengthen the game, and therefore I think that Kansas should have the ball in Vaughn's hand, penetrate inside, and try to go inside to score. Here he is. Take it inside. Taking a lot of time here.
Robertson, 3.
Didn't like the play.
Haase gets it inside. Back up by LaFrentz. And a foul called on Iowa State.
That's where Kansas wanted the ball, down inside.
7.1 seconds remaining. And Kansas will go to the line for 2.
If you're Cato down inside, all you want to do there is to tap the ball out. Put it in the other direction.
Boy, this was just, though, a huge get by into the arms of Haase. Pollard actually tipped it over to him. LaFrentz had a chance. And they've got the timeout called now by Iowa State. We'll be right back.
Even better, broken in.
That should do it. I'm transferring $100,000 right now.
The electronic world can be a treacherous place.
Yeah, well, look where we are. This doesn't look right. It looks great. I'm not happy here.
And if you've got some kind of off-the-shelf network that's not custom designed for your business, then something unexpected can happen.
It's not there yet?
We're getting ready for March Madness here on Selection Sunday. And could be buzzer beater time at Kemper Arena. We know this. Kansas is going to the line, down 1 with 7.1 seconds remaining.
There you have a foul with the ball on the inside, Jim. This is exactly where I thought Kansas ought to get that ball initially.
Foul on Cato.
Cato, that's his 4th in this ball game. LaFrentz on that line.
69%, 68.9% on the season. And he'll shoot 2.
A boy from Iowa.
Yep, he's broken the hearts of Iowans before.
Yep. Ooh, boy, that was a good-looking free throw under pressure. Terrific follow-through.
Crushed everyone in the state when he signed with Kansas, and now he can give the Jayhawks the 1-point lead.
But Jim, there's 7 seconds, a lot of time for Iowa State to set up big.
And a substitution. Kansas brings in B.J. Williams for the shooter.
I think Kansas should pick up full court now, try to occupy as many seconds as possible before Iowa State gets in position to get Pratt or Willoughby the shot.
Willoughby. A foul called on Kansas's Jacque Vaughn.
Boy, that was quick, wasn't it?
That'll send Willoughby to the line for a 1-and-1. That's just the 9th team foul, 1 away from the double bonus. Wow.
Willoughby an 80% free throw shooter, but still 5 seconds. Kansas will get a good look.
So the kid who followed his coach from UNO, University of New Orleans, up to Iowa State, Dedric Willoughby. 1-and-1 with 5.5 to go. Tied it.
You get the feeling that the team that has the ball last wins? Huh?
Well,
see if they pick up full court to try to force Kansas to occupy 3 seconds to get it over half court.
Willoughby for the lead. Perfect.
Here
Jacque Vaughn. Jacque Vaughn will drive it up the middle. Plenty of time. Vaughn driving, puts it up. No good. Iowa State has won the Big 8 title.
It was a Tyus Edney try, but it didn't work.
I thought exactly the same thing, Billy. It looked like the Edney play, except for the end.
The great history of this league, Iowa State finally wins one. 89 years. Vaughn tries to take it a distance, very similar to Tyus. Wasn't quite as spectacular a crossover, but the same angle. No chance for the putback, and look at Cato right there to put away any attempt. And there's Tim Floyd. He's got to be so proud of this club.
Now the question is, did Kansas cost itself a #1 seed? I think Iowa State may be up to about a 4 now, Billy. They're pretty high in the computer. What do you think?
I think it's possible.
The Chevrolet players of the game are Kenny Pratt from Iowa State. 20 points, 11 rebounds. Scott Pollard from Kansas, celebrating its 25th year of NCAA sponsorship. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. Billy Packer and Jim Nantz saying so long for now. We'll see you later tonight come selection time. SEC final next from Kemper Arena. The final score here, Iowa State 56, Kansas 55. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the NCAA Basketball Championship.